Spencer, a great game for the neutrals in dreadful conditions, and one has to pat every player, both sides, on the back for giving 100% in the game. Substitutes as well. Your reaction?
Just delighted to get the 3 points. I think we deserved it. I thought the first 30 minutes we were outstanding. 2-0 up, and we could have been 4 or 5 up, and that was the difference. We should have killed the game there and then, and give Basingstoke a lot of credit. I thought the rest of the game was very even, and in the very end there we were hanging on a bit. They got one just before the end, and we were starting to get injuries, and then when we hit the post, in the 88th minute or whatever, and you tend to think, oh, is that going to be now they're going to go straight down the other end and get a point. But we hung on, and over the 90 minutes I think we deserved it, but it was terribly difficult conditions, and we've just got to be thrilled with the 3 points and we'll move on.
Yeah, I mean, you were 2 up quite comfortably in the first half, pulverised them in the first 10 minutes, but they set their stall out. Jay Gaston went narrowly wide with a header early doors in the second half, and then they went at you. They got the goal. Could you see an equaliser coming?
Well, of course you can. You're only 2-1 up, so you can see an equaliser coming. But Bradshaw's only had to make one decent save the whole game. I was concerned with the set pieces in the first half, that they'd managed to get 3 or 4 clear headers on goal, which is not acceptable, especially in the very difficult conditions. But as I said, in the first 30 minutes we could have been 4 or 5 clear and played some fantastic football in conditions which were absolutely terrible. So, as I said, overall we're just delighted. It wasn't an amazing performance, but on a day like this, to get 3 points, no serious injuries in a derby is a fantastic achievement, and we'll just move on.
Yeah, and there was a big groan went around the ground when the referee added 4 extra minutes. There were a couple of injuries as they went in, but you got a couple of corners. I have to say, I've been involved in football quite some time, and was it your idea not to put any players in there from an attacking corner?
Well, I think we scored 1 goal from a corner directly this season. Josh Huggins at Bromley. It's something we practice a huge amount, but we just don't seem to get through. But I think one of these days we'll get 2 or 3, and then that'll start the ball rolling. I mean, ultimately, we're playing the last few minutes, and we're playing into the corners, and they didn't get over the halfway line in the last 5 or 6 minutes. So it was a job well done, as I said. Overall, delighted for the fans. We didn't manage to get a game the other week, and it's a big win. And we look forward to the return match on New Year's Day, which we know is going to be a very difficult game. As I said, the conditions played a massive part, and as I said, both sets of players did very well. It's very difficult. So overall, I'm just delighted with the win, and we'll move on.
Yeah, well, thank you, Spencer, and best of luck on Saturday. Spencer, Salisbury up next. League leaders, because Dover lost on quite surprisingly on Boxing Day. What do you know about their strengths?
Well, we had a very, very tough game with them earlier in the season. We got beat in the 90th minute, the only goal of the game, where we stepped off them. The table doesn't lie. They're top for a reason. They've got an outstanding management, a particularly good manager there, and they've done fantastically well. They're full time, and they're really going for it. You can see that when they step off a little bit, they go and acquire real quality to add to their squad. It's going to be a very, very difficult game. Again, we'll be the underdogs, but we've been that all season, and we've every reason to go with positivity. And forecast is terrible, but it was what it was like on Boxing Day, so we know what we'll have to do to deal with that, and it's a game obviously we're going to look forward to.
I mean, your players that come on and that they attack, they're very attack-minded side, great to watch, always see goals. You're the highest home scoring Conference South side, but when you go to teams like Salisbury, you've got to respect them. Do you sort of instill in them, well, look, let's think about defending?
Well, we don't specifically just look at attacking. I do believe that we're in the entertainment business. We want people to come and watch us, and every team that I've managed, we do install the fact that we will try and score goals, but we're certainly not going to park the bus, particularly at home. We've got an outstanding home record. We'll respect the fact that they're top of the league, but they've got to worry about us. And yes, they're top of the league for a reason, and we'll be the underdogs. But we'll have a go. I'm not a believer of sitting back and boring everybody to death. We'll pass the ball in the right areas of the park, but we'll respect their qualities. And as I said, the table doesn't lie. There's a reason they're top. And but if we put on a very good performance and perhaps they dip a little bit, then there's every chance we'll get the 3 points.
And as you say, the table doesn't lie, and you are actually in the playoff positions. I mean, it is early days yet, but yeah, you're going to have a lot of people down here after Boxing Day win against Basingstoke. Are you going to beat Salisbury?
We hope so. We're going to give it absolutely everything as my teams do, and I've no doubt that, you know, we're looking forward to the game. We're the underdogs because they're top of the table, but as I said, we gave them a very good game at their place earlier in the season and lost, as I said, right at the death. And hopefully we can go closer this time, and hopefully the fans will get behind us in this Christmas New Year period, and we'll get another 3 points like we did on Boxing Day.
Well, best of luck.